Hi guys, welcome to Art A&A. This is Leslie Davidson with lesliedavidson.com. So today I want to talk to you about financial adulthood. I got my first credit card when I was 19, and the whole reason I got it was because I was going away to school and it was there for emergencies and maybe for books. Okay, the plan was to buy the books and then pay off the credit card when the OSAP loan came in. That was the whole plan. But of course, what I also bought was cute shoes and cash advances to go to the bar. Priorities. So since university, I actually carried a balance on my credit card for years. It was around $2,000, and it would just roll over, and I would pay the minimum payment or a minimum payment plus a bit more. And I'd always planned on paying it off, but I didn't have a plan, and it never really came around. I was never committed enough or buckled down enough to do it. What's also important to note is when I was in my 20s, I dated a man. I was actually engaged to a guy who was addicted to cocaine and actually probably crack. But I was really naive and I didn't know any of that stuff, so I would believe his lies of like, oh, I lost my money in gambling, which was somehow better. Not better, but in my head it was somehow better than drugs. And he would actually pawn all of his things and any things of mine that he could get his hands on. He pawned my engagement ring. Now, granted, I had given it back to him because I didn't want to be with the crazy, lying, gambling man, drug addict. But he actually stole my credit card too and took out cash advance, and he also stole all our bills and kept telling me that he had paid them but hadn't actually paid them. And of course they were all in my name, so I had MasterCard call me and actually tell me to cut out my card. Okay, so I had a really, really bad credit rating in my 20s. And as my 20s progressed and I got rid of cracky addict, I lived on my own and I had a good job and I was free of all that mess, and I kind of wanted to straighten my finances out. So I actually sat down and I figured out how much carrying debt cost me. My credit card has an interest of 18%, 18.75% per annum. So that's per year. And it was crazy. $2,000 was costing me at the bare minimum $30 of interest per month. Okay, so if I paid the $30, then I was completely just not getting anywhere. We were just floating. It wasn't going down, but no interest was incurring. If I didn't pay $30, the interest that I hadn't covered actually went back on the balance, and then I was charged interest on that. Nightmare. Okay. So once this all became clear that this was costing me an enormous amount of money, I made a plan. I made a plan to pay off my debts. So I started with my credit cards first because they were smaller amounts than my student loans, and they were also the highest interest, so I wanted to get them gone as soon as I could, so I did. Then I worked on my student loans, and I got rid of the smallest one first and then the largest one, and then I had paid it all off. To the point where actually I ended up having a pretty good credit rating, was able to buy a house. Now, just recently though, I need tools. I need visual tools to help me save or pay off debt, because it's difficult sometimes when the numbers are so big and they go down so slowly, or the numbers are so small and they go up so slowly. It's a good way for me to get to stay focused by having some sort of a visual aid. So this is what I used for my recent repayment, my debt repayment plan. I have a credit line, which I highly recommend if you can afford one or you can get one, is get a credit line because the interests are much, much lower than credit cards. my credit card is 18%. The credit line is like 6%, I think. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense that you're going to pay less for the money you use. I recently, a couple years ago, I had to replace my roof and I had to get a new car. So in comes the credit line. It's good to have credit. It really is. But then I had to pay it off. And it's a real pain in my ass. I really like to pay off debts. I don't carry a balance on my credit card anymore, ever. I have a savings, and I will actually pull out of savings to pay off my credit card every month, because I just can't stand carrying a balance. I feel like I'm throwing money out into the street, just throwing it away. It's not for me, it's interest. So I have debt repayment visuals that I use. So this was based on my payroll plan. I was getting paid twice a month, and I was getting money from my boyfriend Keith because he contributes to the bills. And so it was based, I put away, I had enough, I decided on what was a reasonable amount that I could pay each paycheck or each time money came in, and I did it. And then I would cross it off when I had made that payment. And the crossing off became really, really important to me. It became so that I couldn't stand to miss crossing it off. I couldn't stand to get behind. It kept me totally on track because it was so obvious. Like, if you missed one, there it is. It's, the other one comes around and you missed it. So I would catch up really quickly, and I would pull money from my savings to pay it off, to get back on track again. And I found this really, really helpful for me. It worked for me. The idea is to get something going that'll work for you. I made up some different templates. You can go to the website if you're interested and see the templates and download any that you think will work for you at lesliedavidson.com. Here are the links here to the blog post that I wrote that's basically this. But you'll have to join the mailing list to get the templates. Here's a spiral run. Here's a spiral one. You could do tubes or yarn or whatever. How about flowers? Ooh, everyone likes flowers. And you could even make each of the petals to be $5 or something. $5. Even the middle is $5. So every time that you make a payment, you color it in. You can even do that on canvas and paint it in, or use paint markers or something. How about mushrooms? You could color a mushroom in, have it all colored in, all the grass in the background. Even do it black, and then color in a mushroom every time you make a payment. Here's another one that's like tubes, but in a spiral. So each one of these would be worth an amount, a particular amount, and every time you made that payment, you'd color it in. Here's a blank one, the one that I use. Use whatever works for you. Use whatever monetary amount is easy for you to maintain, because it's very much like other things. Don't make it hard for yourself. Make it easy to maintain, because if it is, you'll start to have that feel-good progress is happening feeling, and you'll be able to stick to it, because there's nothing worse than having to struggle with doing a repayment. Make it so that it's reasonable. Keep it, even if it's just $5. Each one of those petals or whatever is $5. Then if you have more than $5, you can fill in a few of them, and you can arrange it so that the entire picture is complete when you have completed the full repayment, or when you've reached your savings goal. So you can work out how many different sections you need to draw to complete your goal, whatever it is. Okay, so there's that. Check that out on the website. Join the mailing list to get in. I also have some links on that blog post. One is to Artwork Archive. They have two different ways of pricing, because pricing is another way of being financially mature, is to establish proper pricing, to demand what you're worth. Your work is valuable. What you're doing in this world is valuable, and it needs to exist, and people should pay you for the value. Okay? This was another one that I tried to do that ended up being a doodle. Okay, I kind of got carried away. And just an interesting story. Someone on Facebook said, "Hey, that looks great. Could you scan that and send it over to me? Because I'd like to have an adult coloring book." No payment, just send it to me. I know that you're talented and creative, and wow, that looks great. So just send it to me. I'm not commenting on that. So as an adult, as a valuable, skilled artisan, you deserve to be paid for what you do. You deserve to be paid appropriately and reasonably for the skills that you bring to the table. So head over to my blog at lesliedavidson.com. Check out the links. So Artwork Archive, they've got one where you're going to be paid, figure out your pricing by like hourly amount and by materials. There's another way to figure out pricing by the square inch. And they're both interesting. They both have some pros and cons, so check that out. There's also a link to an infographic by creativelive.com, which is a great freelancer's graphic to figure out what you need to be charging to be getting paid a salary that is a livable, reasonable salary, because there's so many things that we forget. Like, do you ever want to take a vacation? Do you want to ever have a holiday as an entrepreneur? Like, as a freelancer, you need to work that into everything that you charge. Every single one of your clients needs to be paying for your holiday. Haha. See, I never thought about that. That was really brilliant. I was like, oh yeah. So check out that. There's also two sites. One is Canadian and one is American. The Canadian one is Carfact, and it's their tools and fees link. And it's got all the minimum fees that you should be charging as an artist. Minimum fees, okay? And they are very in depth about what fees we should be charging, and most of us are not. So check into that. The other one is American, and it's Wage, WAGE, is an organization to make sure that artists are being paid fairly. And they also have a list of fees and pricing help for American artists. Okay, so check that out. Also, my last word is to the 20-somethings that I've been having conversations with about getting credit cards. I know that you guys think that paying cash is smart, and it is. It's a smart way to do it. It's a way to not live beyond your means, but you are not building a credit rating, okay, without using a credit card. You build a small credit rating by having an ongoing bill with a cell phone company that you're paying on time. Pay your bills on time. It's part of your credit rating. But you build a really good credit rating and credit history by having a credit card. It is a loan repayment schedule, basically, and it works monthly, and it gives you a really solid financial credit history for a financial institution to look at in the case that down the line you'd like to buy a car or a house, or to apply for a loan to expand your business. It's really important. Start now. Don't try and create a credit rating when you need a credit rating. Start now and just be reasonable. Be healthy. Be responsible about your credit, meaning don't carry a balance. The credit card companies hate that. They want you to carry a balance and pay them interest. But pay off your credit card every month, and you'll totally never get in trouble with it. What I do now when I use my credit card, I actually take that money out of my account and mark it as that it's gone and been used on credit. So it's just another hint. Okay, so thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out. I really enjoy it. I enjoy all your comments. Okay, thanks.